Hello, everybody. Welcome. I'm Skip Elsheimer, and this is the AV Geeks Lunchtime streaming show. Hope everybody had a good weekend. Thank you, Matt, for the coffee. You can buy us coffee at buymeacoffee.com/avgeeks. He bought it and wished me congratulations on the Wolfpack winning some game against Clemson, football game. I went to NC State, and so the first year I was there, I attended almost all the sporting events and kind of burned out on it. So, and also I see there's a lot of people chattering about Liberace. One of the best things that I had ever seen when I went to Las Vegas was the Liberace Museum, which sadly is no longer there. It was pretty great. They had this giant rhinestone. It was huge. It was the size of someone's head, I felt like. Maybe it wasn't that big, but, Liberace. Let's see. So we're watching some old films. Oh, also somebody asked, what happened to the show last Friday with the 2000th film, and where we premiered the Neon. Well, guess what? It seems like YouTube is tuned into the fact that anytime I show something special that's related to a number, they're going to block it. So somebody blocked the 2000th film and then blocked the entire stream. They didn't even mute part of it. They just blocked the whole thing. So you can see it on Facebook. Very annoying, very frustrating, but I'm happy for those of you that actually watched it and saw. It was an awesome film about labs in space. Let's see. So to get things started, let's hear McLeod, TV's McLeod, and the main protagonist in The Duel, tell us Smokey Bear's story.
Boy, that's a quiet truck you got there. Didn't hear you drive up.
Sorry if I startled you. Anything I can do for you?
Oh, I was just looking for a faucet. Wanted to get a bucket of water before we started the fire, just in case. Don't want to get in trouble with Smokey the Bear, you know.
No, we couldn't have that. You see this trail right here?
Yeah.
Well, you go down that for about 100 yards and you'll come to a faucet.
Thanks.
Excuse me, mister. Anybody ever tell you look a lot like Dennis Weaver?
Well, now that you mentioned it, my wife does say there's quite a resemblance. Thanks again.
You bet.
This is the stuff that does it. Phosphorus. If you don't have it, a matchstick won't get hot enough to catch fire. But phosphorus catches fire real easy. Just one little rub gets it hot enough.
Come on, Jimmy. We better get that water for your dad and get back.
One little scratch and the matchstick catches on.
Hey, you better be careful. You might start a fire. You'll really be in trouble if your dad sees you, or the ranger, or Smokey.
Ah, come on.
That sounds like pretty good advice to me. Your folks let you have those matches?
No, sir. And if his dad finds out, boy, is he gonna be in trouble.
Oh, knock it off, Kathy.
Well, maybe you better let me have them, Tiger. You know Smokey's friends don't play with matches, do they, gang?
No.
Oh, come on, mister. Maybe you can fool them, but you can't kid me.
Kid you about what? How dangerous matches can be?
No, about Smokey the Bear. Everybody knows that's just a gimmick. There is no Smokey.
There's no Smokey? Well, of course there is. I'll tell you what, you let me have those matches and I'll tell you the story of Smokey the Bear, the true story.
Nothing doing. We don't want to hear doing.
Well, maybe you don't, but I do. So do I. Me too. Come on, Jimmy, give him the matches.
Yeah, we want to hear the story.
Look, I'll make you a deal. You let me keep those matches while I'm telling the story, and then if you want them after I'm finished, you can have them. Fair enough?
Well, I guess so.
Hey, mister, haven't I seen you on TV before?
Oh, I don't know, maybe.
You're on Uncle Ben's kitty cartoon Carnival on Saturday mornings, right?
Well, no, you must have got me mixed up with some other guy. Now, is everybody ready?
Yes.
I suppose so.
First, I think we should know each other's names. Mine's Dennis.
I'm Jimmy.
I'm Kathy Terhune. I'm Bobby, and that's Mike.
Okay, now, when our story first began, Smokey was just a cub, just a little bitty baby. As a matter of fact, he was younger than any of you. Now, does anybody know where he was living?
With his mommy and daddy.
That's true, Mike. But where were they living?
In the forest?
Right, Bobby. In the Lincoln National Forest in New Mexico.
Now, what do you think that Smokey did all day?
Look for some honey. I bet she played lots.
Of course, he wasn't the only one that lived in the forest. You know who else lived there, Jim?
Sure, that's easy. People.
And what did they do there?
Lots of things. Like camping, for instance.
Logging and fishing and stuff.
And even though the rangers and most of the other people tried to be very careful, a fire started. Now, at first, it was just a small fire.
How did it start? I bet some bad men did on purpose.
Probably somebody got careless with their campfire.
Or maybe somebody's playing with matches.
Come on, tell us, how did it start?
Well, it could have started in any one of those ways. Nobody ever really found out for certain. Anyway, the fire didn't stay small for very long.
What about the Rangers? Couldn't they put it out?
First, they've got to get there, you know. And forest fires move pretty fast, maybe 100 miles per hour. Don't they, mister?
Well, let's just say that they all move faster than you think. Anyway, this fire had already burned a lot of territory before the Rangers got to it. The Rangers finally put the fire out, but it cost over $35,000. 50 men were injured, and 17,000 acres of forest were burned. But that was only part of what the fire cost. There were no more trees for lumber to build houses with, no more places to camp and picnic, no hiking trails, no fishing, no place for children to play, and no animals left alive.
But what about Smokey?
Did I say there were no animals left alive?
You sure did.
Well, what I should have said is there are no animals left alive except one. Because even though Smokey was just a little cub, he was able to climb to the very tip top of a tall, tall tree where he was pretty safe from the fire.
Poor little Smokey. He sure must have been scared. Did he cry?
Oh, I should say you bet he did. See, he was afraid that the fire would come back, and his paws had been very, very badly burned. They really hurt.
What did he do?
Well, at first, he called for his mother and his father, but they had both been killed by the fire. And there was nobody else around to help him, so for a long time, he just hung on to the top of that tree just as hard as he could.
He must have been pretty tired and hungry.
Oh, he sure was. After a while, he didn't think he could hold on any longer, and all around the tree were these great, big, huge rocks. And he was afraid that he would fall down and hurt himself again. And he was just about to let go when he heard voices.
The ranger.
That's right, Kathy. The rangers found Smokey and they helped him down from the tree. And then they took Smokey and put him in their plane and took him back to the ranger station. The chief ranger and his wife and his little daughter took good care of Smokey. They put medicine and bandages on his burned paws, and they gave him plenty of milk to drink. And pretty soon, Smokey was feeling a lot better, good enough to run and play. He had a lot of fun with the chief ranger and his family, but, well, after a while, he began to get homesick for the forest where he'd lived before. But Smokey's old home in the forest was all burned up, and there wasn't anybody there to play with or to take care of him. Now, the ranger would have liked to have kept Smokey, but he was growing bigger and bigger every day, and pretty soon he would just be too big to live there anymore. Now, the rangers knew that they would have to find a new home for Smokey.
Where was that?
Well, where would you kids have taken him if you'd been the rangers?
How about the zoo?
Yeah, that's where they know all about taking care of bears and stuff.
And that's just what the rangers did. They took him to the National Zoo in Washington, D.C., and they made a special home for him. And that's where the real Smokey is today. And ever since that he's been there, he's been doing a real big job. And I'll bet you know where that is, Mike.
He helps prevent forest fires.
He sure does. But he can't do all the work alone. He needs some help, and not just from grown-ups. You know, I'll bet you kids can think of a lot of ways that you can help Smokey and the rangers prevent forest fires.
Well, if you're out camping and you build a campfire, you should build it where you're supposed to, not where it can burn down trees and stuff.
Crush all cigarettes. Dead out.
Drown campfires with lots of water.
Those are all very important. Are there any others?
Yes, don't play with matches.
You know, that still seems like pretty good advice to me. How about it, Jimmy? You still think Smokey the Bear is a gimmick?
Well,
Still here, Jimmy? Say, what's taking you kids so long to get a bucket of water?
Oh, I'm afraid that's my fault. I was telling them about Smokey the Bear.
Oh, I see. Well, was it a good story?
Yeah!
Good. Listen, it's lunchtime and your folks all want you back. You know, it's amazing.
What's that?
You could be Dennis Weaver's brother.
No, I couldn't be that. I'll guarantee you.
Well, now that you mention it, maybe not.
hey, Dad. You're supposed to hold the matches till they get cold. Then break them in two. Tell them what Smokey says, gang.
Remember Smokies, ABCs. Matches don't spark forest fires. People do. Forest fires kill a lot more than trees. Be careful in the forest.
Animals wouldn't burn down your homes. Don't burn down theirs.
Okay, it's okay. Looks like I needed that lesson, huh? And I won't forget it either, I promise you that. You kids better run along. I'll see you later. Jimmy, hurry up with that water. Your mom's waiting.
Jim, I think that these are yours.
Well, maybe you better keep them. After all, Smokey's friends don't play with matches, do they?
They sure don't, Jim. They sure don't.
So, Dennis Weaver and Gordon Jump. That film has everybody. And this is kind of a retelling of the film that I showed earlier called Little Smokey, which I believe Tex Ritter, could be wrong, narrates. But I have a couple of films about Smokey the Bear. I have some animated PSAs, which I'm trying to locate. Maybe we'll watch that later this week. Anyways, next to the beautiful neon is my telecine, and we've got a film set up for you to watch. This is The Big Green Caterpillar. Enjoy.
On this street there grew some trees. Each spring they were covered with fresh green leaves. On some of the leaves were very tiny insect eggs. Interesting animals hatched out of the eggs, hidden all over the branches. A boy found one of the eggs on a tree in his own yard. Because he had very keen eyes, he saw for himself the things that you are about to see. To keep the leaves fresh, the tree branch was put in a jar of water, fixed so that nothing could fall in. Every morning, the boy looked at the egg. At night, before going to bed, he looked again. Then one morning, just a few days later, the tiny egg hatched. The tiny animal that came out of the egg was a caterpillar. Its food was tree leaves. Its home, the branches of the tree. Soon the young caterpillar began to eat, and it began to grow. Its color turned to a beautiful shade of green. Like all caterpillars, this one needed fresh food often. So every other day, the boy gathered a few new leaves from the tree in his yard for his hungry, growing animal. Window screen and tin cans were used to make a cage. Now the boy's pet was safe from spiders and insect enemies. Within just 1 month, the caterpillar grew many, many times its size at birth. The larger it grew, the more it ate. And the more it ate, the larger it grew. Caterpillars aren't like people. Even in the middle of the night, the big green caterpillar was busy eating. Morning, noon, and night, it ate. The bigger the animal grew, the better it could be seen. It had 3 pairs of true legs in front and 5 pairs of prolegs, or caterpillar legs, along the rest of its body. Later in life, the prolegs would disappear. The caterpillar rested only a few minutes every hour. It had no bones to hold it upright, so it rested most comfortably hanging upside down from its prolegs. As the boy watched his pet, he wondered. There must be other insect eggs on other plants. Are those insects as interesting as the big green caterpillar? Several times the animal stopped eating and became very quiet. It seemed to be resting, but really it was preparing to shed its skin. It grew so fast that every few weeks its skin became too tight. It took all the strength the caterpillar had to get out of the old skin. New skin had formed beneath the old, giving the insect more room to grow. It took 2 hours for the caterpillar to shed its skin completely. Afterwards, it returned to the leaves and ate and ate and ate some more. One day, when the caterpillar was 6 weeks old, the boy brought it some fresh leaves. But the caterpillar no longer wanted food. It would never, never eat again. Instead, it had begun to spin a cocoon. Strong thread came from its mouth to be used in making the cocoon. It took several hours for the big green caterpillar to completely enclose itself. The next day, the cocoon was finished. It was a perfect house. It would keep out nearly everything. The boy wondered, what does the caterpillar look like now? So very, very carefully, he cut open the cocoon. This did not harm the caterpillar, but it seemed to make him very unhappy. But the next part of its life was about to begin, and nobody could stop it. Green caterpillar soon changed into a brown pupa. It would live as a pupa from a few weeks to a whole year, and it would live all that time without ever eating. It took only a few weeks for this pupa to make its change. The animal that came out of the cocoon was the same one that went in. It only looked different, for now it was an adult. Wings for flying slowly developed. It had no mouth, for it did not eat. It had eyes for seeing in the daytime, but it flew mostly at night. 2 feathery antennae were sensitive feelers in the dark. The spots on its wings looked like the eyes of a larger animal, perhaps to frighten away its enemies, but they were not real eyes. When it first hatched, and he wondered, how did it grow so big in such a short time, eating only tree leaves? Did chemicals in its body change leaves into good food? Do other animals use this kind of leaf as food? These are only a few of the things the boy wondered about. And it all started on this street. For on this street there grew a tree, and on the tree there were some eggs.
So there's some notes here. Let's see, like some cans actually have notes in them. This one says, here's some discussion questions for you. What do caterpillars eat? How often do they eat? Do caterpillars have bones? Do they sleep? Why did the caterpillar shed its skin so often? Why did the boy build a cage for his pet? How do you think the pupa could live without eating? Why did caterpillars have no wings? Why did the adult insect have no mouth? Where would you look to find an insect egg? And, there's no mention of, do you think cutting open the cocoon before the caterpillar has metamorphosized could kill it? And here's vocabulary: antenna, chemicals, insect, pupa, caterpillar, cocoon, prolegs, true legs. All right, there you go. That's what we do when we watch these films. And like I said, not every one of these has film notes. Every film that I have has film notes, but it's interesting when they do, because sometimes if you watch a film and you're like, huh? Then you can look at the teacher's notes and say, like, oh, I think I see where they're going with this and where they want to talk about, like what they're trying to teach us. And sometimes, of course, it doesn't help. So we saw a boy and his caterpillar. Let's see a boy and his elephant.
Elephants bathing in a river. The river is in Assam, a part of India. The elephant is Gunda, with her baby elephant. On Gunda's back is Rama, a boy of India. Rama is scrubbing his elephant. Look out! The baby elephant, named Gaimali, is using his trunk to take a drink. Looks like Gunda is having fun. Rama's father, Donja, supervises the bathing job. Donja is a mahout, an elephant keeper. Watch Donja as he gives Gunda the elephant an order. Up, up, Gunda. See how well trained she is? Ah, my good, faithful Gunda, says Rama, high on her back. Bathing time is over. Donja leads the way. Rama rides on Gunda, and following them is little Gaimali, Gunda's baby. It's time to go home. But where is home? If you could ask Rama, he'd tell you that he lives in India. He would also explain that India is a very large country, and that he lives in a certain part of India called Assam. The arrow shows us where Rama's home is. Now it is the beginning of a new day. Donja is going to work with Gunda, for you see, Gunda is a work elephant. Rama's mother is taking the younger children with her to the village to do the family marketing. Rama usually stops to see his goats each morning. Now it's time for Father to unchain Gunda. Look, Donja holds Gunda's ears, and then he walks up her trunk. Well done, my pearl of an elephant, says Donja. Then Donja calls, "Come, Rama, my little son." Rama has no school today, so he does not want to miss a ride on Gunda. Up he goes. Of course, little Gaimali has to tag along, too. And now they're off to the forest. What do you think it's like, riding on an elephant? Rama and his father are up very high. The road leads through the tea plantation, which is a kind of huge farm. They pass some of the plantation buildings, and other men going to work. Women are going to work too. They are tea pickers on the plantation. Gunda takes such big steps that soon they have caught up with Mother and the other children. "Hello," says Donja. "I'm taking Rama with me to the forest." Mother is happy that Rama is going to help his father. And now the road leads past the tea bushes on the plantation. Here the women are busy picking the tea leaves. At last they come to the place where they are going to work. The job is building a small bridge across the stream. Rama leaves Gaimali, for the baby elephant is too small to work. But Gunda is already picking up heavy logs to lay across the stream. Rama stays close to Gunda as she works, for he wants to learn all he can about handling an elephant. Gunda is very strong. She can lift things that would take many men to carry. Wonderful, wonderful Gunda. In the nearby forest, Gunda does more work. Donja has trained her well. "Perhaps Gunda will like something to eat," says Rama. So he goes into the forest to see what he can find for her. The forest is very thick, jungle as we call it. Rama carries a knife so that he can cut a path through the bushes and vines if he has to. Of course, he is very careful. What was that? Monkeys. Rama is used to seeing monkeys and other animals in the jungle. But what can he find for Gunda to eat? Perhaps he can find some tender bamboo shoots. Gunda likes them. Now there's something Gunda would like. Bananas. There's a bunch high in the tree. A monkey watches Rama as he climbs up and cuts the stalk of bananas. This will be a good lunch for Gunda. It's a long walk back through the jungle to the place where Father and the other men and Gunda are. Look, one of the plantation trucks is stuck in the stream. Gunda's lunch will have to wait until later. One of the workmen calls, "Get your elephant, Rama." Rama runs for help. Donja and the other men are still at work. Rama talks to his father. "A truck is stuck in the stream," he says. "It is loaded with tea and the men must get it out." They need Gunda to help them. I know she will do it for me. May I take her, Father? It may not be easy, says Donja, but Gunda likes you. I will let you try. Rama's excited. This is the first time Father has let him handle Gunda alone. There's no time to lose. Now Rama will show Father what he and Gunda can do. Steady, Gunda. Steady. Now, up. That's good. Be careful, my son, says Father. Now you are an elephant driver, a mahout. Off they go. Of course, little Gaimali has to tag along as usual. Rama is handling his elephant as well as a real mahout. There's the truck, still stuck in the mud. What do you think Rama and Gunda will do? Gunda takes the heavy rope in her mouth and trunk, and very skillfully, too. Then Rama gives the order, pull, Gunda, pull. The men push as Gunda pulls. Pull, Gunda, pull. Father arrives just in time to see Rama doing his best. Keep pulling, Gunda. The truck is coming out. Steady, Gunda, steady. There, it's out. The men keep the truck moving. Even baby Gaimali is helping by trying to push. What a happy moment this is for Rama. And for everyone. Gunda has done a wonderful job. And now the truck can continue to the airfield, where men are waiting for the tea. The boxes of tea will be loaded into the plane. Perhaps stores near your home will be selling this tea from India, the land where Rama lives. Donja is very proud of his son, and of Gunda, too. Without their help, the shipment of tea might not be leaving India now. There goes the plane, perhaps to a land far from India. Rama and his father watch. Faithful Gunda and her baby stand quietly. Goodbye, Rama. Goodbye, boy of India.
Goodbye, Rama. Yeah, so actually I feel like I have a couple of films that have a boy and his elephant. It could be that there was an earlier version of this, or that the other educational film company did their own version of this. I guess I could bring up my database and really find that answer. But hey, thanks Alex for the coffee from across the pond. Much appreciated. All right, I got another film set up on the Telecine. And this one, it looks to be, I haven't seen this, so it's kind of a premiere, and it says on the, where's the sticker at? Oh, here it is. So, with film inspectors, they would also sometimes put a sticker, include a thing of stickers, which electronically inspected smiley face, and it says 1990 on it, so it's very likely that this film, the last time, and it's put over the hole, that you would, so you know that it hasn't been shown. So this film has not been shown since 1990, or at least inspected since 1990. So nobody has seen it for 31 years. So this is, I believe this is an Inuit story. But let's watch Three Stone Blades. Enjoy.
Once, long ago, an Eskimo hunter roamed the wind-swept Arctic ice, seeking game to feed his family. He was a brave and skilled hunter, and shot polar bear, walrus, and many seal. The family had a full cache of food. His wife, warm in a feathered parka of auk birds, helped in many ways. The family lived in a big sod igloo lined with whalebone. Their stone lamp gave both light and heat and burned with a moss wick soaked in seal oil. From skins of different animals, grandmother helped to make parkas, pants, and mucklucks, the waterproof boots. Because they all worked hard, the family prospered. It was a good year. The spirits of nature were kind. There was joy and feasting in the igloo. But the old people knew from the raven's warning that bad times would come. They would die. One day, confident in his skill, the hunter started toward the open ice. He did not fear the dangers where ice and open water meet, and where the hungry polar bear also hunts. And sudden wind shifts cause ice floes to break off, carrying luckless hunters drifting out to sea. The hunter never returned. His wife mourned. Now, keeping the family alive was Mother's job alone. To conserve the dwindling cache of food, Mother jiggle-fished. She gathered driftwood along the shore. The children grew. The season changed. It was the moon when rivers commenced to flow. Spring came, and the ice moved out from shore. Now there was no man to hunt. The supplies of food grew ever smaller. Without a man, the sled and big skin boat were useless. In desperation, the family had to eat their dogs. Mother gave the children the very last morsel of meat. The oil lamp burned dry. Her last hope was for help from her relatives. Mother took an empty poke and started on the long trek across the rotting ice to beg for meat and oil. She would go to her brother-in-law, who was a kind man and a good hunter. He would help her. But she didn't trust his wife. That woman was not one of them. Her behavior was sometimes strange. If the relatives had food, surely they would share. Hadn't her husband always divided his muktuk? She found sister-in-law hanging new hides, and brother-in-law gone on another caribou hunt. There would be fresh meat. Why was she not invited to the warmth of their igloo, or even offered water? But sister-in-law did fill the poke. Mother thanked her and started home. The way seemed shorter and easier despite the weight of the full poke. At last she had food for the children. By being careful, this would last many days. The relatives had plenty. Surely they would spare more food when she needed it. What if their luck changed also? Perhaps she should give the children for adoption. She could remarry to that crippled man with no wife. No, never. Never. The Angrak charm in her glove was reassuring. All would be well. Where the pressure ridge rose like the back of a baleen whale, she rested. She opened the poke for a piece of meat. Instead, she found a stone blade. Another stone blade. And still another stone blade. Only 3 stone blades. What had she done wrong? Why did the spirits fail her? What would become of the children? They would starve. The children. The children. The children. She stumbled on, half blind and crazed by hunger and fear. Angakok. She was being drawn to the spirit world. Land of the shades. She could not hold back. Where was she? This strange igloo. Who are these strange faces? Come in, come in, come in. Yes, you are the one we have been waiting for. Sit here on this walrus skull. Drink this broth. Do as we say, and there will be food for your children. Take this magic poke. It will grow and feed you all. When you leave, take 4 steps and turn 8 times. Now go, woman. Be gone. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. She looked back. She saw the ancient grave of powerful shamans. Their spirits had helped her. At home, the magic poke grew and grew. There was even food to share. When brother-in-law returned from hunting and learned what his wife had done, he was furious. Shamed and angered, he pondered, "What kind of a woman is my wife? No one refuses food to a relative. Her selfishness cannot be forgiven." Wife, how much food have we? Have we meat, oil, skins? Yes, she said, we have plenty of everything. But no food to share, woman? Not even to a relative? I'm leaving you. I'm going to live with my dead brother's widow. She is a good woman and needs me. Who will hunt for me? She asked. You don't need anyone. There is enough food here to last for years, and there are always stones for you to eat. I'll starve. I'll starve. I'll starve. I'll starve. And so it has always been. The spirits help those who live by the rules of their people. And in the unforgiving Arctic, to share is to survive.
Man. This is what happens is, I pull a film and I'm like, huh, 3 strung blades. I wonder what this is. Oh, it's an Inuit tale. And then, whoa, nuts. Sorry we're ending on a dark note, but that was pretty awesome. Kind of a cautionary, almost like a ghost story. It had that kind of feel to it. But, it seems like if the elders knew that Hunter was going to die, they would have said, hey, you might want to be aware that you're going to die because of what the Raven said. Give him a little heads up because, that family is doomed once he doesn't come back. But, yeah. Imagine showing that in class and then, all right, kids. And I like it was live action. Normally these are maybe done with carvings or masks. But this one, it's interesting. They actually had footage that they shot. I don't know if they really were trying to recreate the story or if they just took footage that they had. But really kind of awesome. Thanks everybody for tuning in today. Alex, thank you for the coffee. You can buy us coffee at buymeacoffee.com/avgeeks. You can also hit like, subscribe. Even if you were like, whoa, that story. You kind of generally like what we do here, right? That's why you tune in. So hit the like button. It's an easy thing to do. You can also subscribe and get notified by ringing some bell icon. And also go to avgeeks.com and see other films that we have that we've digitized. We've done several thousand, I would say. Lots and lots and lots. So thanks again for tuning in. We'll be back again tomorrow, Tuesday. As always, we ask you to please rewind and love each other. And, love yourself. Give yourself a break. Hey, maybe this is the time to reach out to a friend or a family member that you haven't talked to in a while and just kind of say, hey, I was just thinking about you. How are things? Yeah, because, it's kind of rough. The weather's nice here, but I think that we're all a little fatigued. We're all COVID fatigued and headline fatigued. And so having someone reach out to you, sometimes it might be a nice thing. So I appreciate you guys reaching out to me, and hopefully I'm reaching out to you, even though the conversation is a little one-sided. But join us tomorrow. Watch some more films. Everybody take care.